So the next thing that we're going to add is going to be a show more or a show less little paragraph down here. So let's start with the show more. We're going to go to our set comments. Okay, and we're going to add the show more at the very bottom of the last comment. So as of now, we've been using a number for limit. So let's say 2. And then if counter is greater than 2, then we don't want to continue adding comments. But if we just send null in here, then we can tell them that there is no limit. So we're going to use null. We're going to send in the value of null to tell the computer that we want to add all the comments. So we need to add something right here. We need to add a null check. So if limit does not equal null, and counter is greater than limit. So it will not run this break if limit equals null. So if we, for example, instead of sending in 2, send in null, limit will not equal a thing. It'll say if limit does not equal null, it does equal null, so it won't trigger this and it'll go off. So we can test this by refreshing our page. And you'll see it shows every comment. So that is how we are going to show all the comments. We're going to put this back to 2, but then we're going to create our show more text underneath the comments, underneath all the comments. So it'll be right here that we're going to add it. So we're going to say var comments expand text equal to nothing. And we're going to say if limit equals null, then that means we're showing everything. So that means we'll set comment expand text to equal show less. Else comments expand text will equal show more. Then we're going to add, whoops, not in the else statement. Then we're going to add to our comments HTML a button. Its class will equal comments dash expand dash button. And then its on click will call our set comments function that we're in right now. And it will send in our post index. And then it will send in another parameter, which will be null. And then we're going to close our bracket off. And then we're going to close our button. So a lot just happened there. So we're going to refresh our page and see if that gives us an error, because sometimes computers don't like sending null through things like that. There should be a show more or show less button. That's what we're looking for. And we are not seeing it. We're not getting an error though, which almost makes it harder to detect what's going wrong. So we're going to get rid of null. And we're just going to replace it with 2. And we're going to see if that causes the button to add. So the button is still not there. So it wasn't the null that was doing it. Oh, we didn't close off our on click. And we shouldn't have closed our string there. Okay. Let's try that again. Okay, there's a button. Doesn't look very good, but at least it's there. So there's a tiny error here. Class equals, so the class equals is good. The on equals, however, is adding the equals or the quotations before the bracket. It has to be after the bracket. So right there. Let's try that again. So we've got this button now. Okay, so we've got onClick equals set comments 0, 2. So it looks like it's actually working. It's just the button's ugly. But what if instead of 2, we try null once again? Okay, so that works. Sweet. So then we're going to have var, and we're going to call this new limit. And if we want to show less, then we're going to set new limit equal to 2. If we want to show more, then we're going to set new limit equal to null. And then we're going to add new limit. So if we click this, it'll add it. If we click it again, okay. So the functionality works. I'm going to recap because I know that was an absolute mess. So we had just quite a few typos basically. So after we create all of our comments, we add one final thing to the container that is a button. And when you click the button, it recalls the set comments function, which adds a new limit. So 2 is our limit if we want to show less, but if we want to show more, then we send in null. And it recalls this function. And then we're going to say, we're only going to call this break, which stops us from adding comments if limit does not equal null. So if new limit equals null and we send this in, it's basically just switching between the two. So that should make sense. The only thing we have left to do now is make this button look good. So at the end of this, we're going to add comments, expand text, and then we're going to close our button. So then that should display the show more, show less now. Great. So then we are going to make our background transparent, and our border is going to be set to none. So then it just looks like text. But then we want to make sure that our cursor changes when we click that button. So we'll set cursor to pointer. So now you can tell it's a button. We're going to have margin left, like 3%. Maybe down to, yeah, 2 should be fine. Then we're going to copy this, and we're going to add it to the class comments-expand-button. And we'll refresh our page. Okay, so we have our show more and our show less button working. Now, technically speaking, it shouldn't display this show more or show less unless we actually have comments, because like this doesn't make any sense. So we can make that change now. Luckily, this is super easy. We start off with our counter equal to 0, and then every time we loop through a comment, we increment it by 1. So down here, we can just say if counter is greater than 0, then we will add this button. Now if we refresh our page, you'll notice none of these have show more. If we add a new comment to this though, it gives us the show more. Actually, it should only have show more if there's more to show. So we're just going to change this to say if counter is less than post.comments.length or limit equals null. So now if our counter hasn't reached all of our posts, or we're showing all of our posts display this button. Okay, so we have one comment. Let's add a second comment. Let's add a third comment. And now it has our show more. So we'll click show more. We'll click show less. Okay, so that works well. Now we've got our comments done. So there is one thing that we jumped over a little bit. Back during this like part, we want to display something like 3 people have liked this post, or 1 person has liked this post, or if nobody's liked the post, we're just not going to display anything. I actually, based on what we've gone over so far, would like you guys to try and figure that out. So I'm going to show you how to do that in this next part, but it would be really cool if you tested out your skills. So the challenge is basically having a paragraph right above here that says how many people liked your post. So try and do that and then check out this next part. Okay, so to display how many people have liked your post, we're going to create a new function called getLikeAmountText. We're going to send in our post index, var post equal posts post index. We're going to set var likeAmountText equal to empty string. Then we're going to say if post.likes. So that's just going to basically say if somebody's liked our post, if there's something in this container, if it's not null. Then we're going to say if post.likes.length equals 1, then likeAmountText equals 1 person has liked this post. Else, if post.likes.length is greater than 1, we're going to say likeAmountText equals post.likes.length plus people have liked this post. So the reason why we created 2 separate strings is because there's different tenses based on people. So 1 person has liked this post, 3 people have liked this post. So it's basically the difference between the word person and people. So hopefully this makes sense. It's pretty straightforward. Return likeAmountText. So then if we scroll all the way up to where our likes container is, we'll want to do it right under this post.content. So we're going to create p class equals likeAmountText end p. And then we're going to call get likeAmountText, and we're just going to send in post index. And then end the p tag. So let's refresh our page there. Okay, 1 person has liked this post. Now you'll notice when we click on like or like, it doesn't update this value. So we would have to refresh our page. So we're going to need to make a slight change to get that to work. We're going to set an ID of this to equal like-amount-text dash plus post index. Okay, so now we'll refresh our page. I'll like this, refresh it again. So now we see this. If we right click and click inspect, we'll see like-amount-text-0. So then if we go to our like post, right down here, we can reference this. We can go, what was the ID? Sorry, like-amount-text-post index, like-amount-text-post index dot text, and then we're just going to call that get like amount text again, and then we are going to send in our post index. So we're basically just updating the like text whenever we click the like button or call like post. So let's refresh our page. Unlike it. Okay, so one person has liked this post. Then we're just going to want to make it look a little better. So this had a margin or a padding left of 15 pixels. So let's give this a padding left of 15 pixels. Cool. So that's like dash amount dash text. Padding left 15 pixels. Cool. And now it all works.